Hey, Rob Brinded here, taking the woo out of woo woo. That's what someone told me yesterday. So I'm going to throw that one out there, see if anyone thinks that's a catchy tagline. My work is all about enabling people to be able to connect with their activity monitor of their body, mind, computer. It works the mind and the body and kind of the spirit. The analogy of the body and the mind and spirit being just like a computer is so true when you start to get into it and you start working with it. And so my work is teaching people how to use their activity monitor to resolve things, or if they have a problem in their life, how to work out where that problem is actually coming from and be able to resolve it on the spot or as quickly as possible. Today I've been doing a lot of thinking about, first of all, my book. I also have a presentation at the Bitcoin Atlantis conference. I've been invited to speak on, do a keynote on the education stage by a young 16-year-old young lady, and she has asked me to talk about my work, how to think was kind of the general topic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing a talk on Minecraft, but changing the E to a D, Mindcraft. And then I'm going to explain that there's this game that we're playing, and there are rules to it, and there's cheat codes, and how to understand the cheat codes for life and how to play the game. Which is really what it comes down to, a bit like Minecraft. So hopefully the young people will get it. I'm going to throw in lots of GIFs and memes, so hopefully they'll find it funny. And so I've been doing a lot of thinking about my work and how to explain it and the metaphors and analogies that young people could get. But in fact, I'm very bad at explaining what I do. I had a talk with a very smart woman yesterday who's very good at marketing. And she was like, you lost me after about 30 seconds when I was explaining what I do. And it's perfect timing that now I'm spending a lot more time working on getting things down to the very simple things that people can understand, or equivalents in a story. So like, this is like this, therefore that is like that. And it's something that's in my mind now and my logical mind is working on. And so I was thinking, what I'm trying to do is to work out my foundational principles, or one of my beliefs, and I want to really not dilute them down, but get the essence of it, like one drop, that perfect essence. And I was thinking about when I first started to get into this this kind of passionate journey of trying to find out the truth about why people are in pain, why people suffer, etc. And what I think has always been one of my foundational principles is, if it works, use it. Now, I've worked a lot in medical teams, and that is not the ethos. They will say that's not scientific. So if it works, it doesn't matter, it's not scientific. And that science model is so limiting, especially with the body, because it's such a complex system, and not taking into account people's perceptions, etc. That just narrows science down to almost like a keyhole for looking at the universe. Science does some great stuff, but there's medicine. Some medicine does great stuff, especially emergency stuff. But in terms of health and understanding complex systems, it's failing terribly. So it was always coming back to, does it work? And I think that came from, by the way, why am I thinking that? It's because this lady said taking the woo out of the woo-woo. And so if the woo-woo works, I'm all there. If it doesn't, I'm not. And there's a load of woo-woo that's just ideological kind of nonsense if you really look deep at it. But it's just taking what works, right? So when did this first when did I first become really aware of it? Well, I was in France. I was trying to be a professional triathlete. This was in the 90s. I was in the west coast, little fishing village called Douarnenez, and I was doing loads of training. I was training like 8 hours a week swimming. I was running every day about an hour and a half, and I was cycling, hours every day. So there's a lot of time spent training. And what happened was I got like a tendinitis in French, in my left, I believe it was my left foot. I couldn't run. It was right on the top of the foot, and it was so painful when I started to run, and I didn't know what to do. And I went to see the doctor, and he gave me some anti-inflammatories. It didn't work. And so my neighbor, an elderly lady, she said, why don't I go and see this guy who's a magnetiseur? And I said, what's a magnetiseur? And she said, it's like energy magnetism. So she took me to him, paid, top lady, and I wish I'd thanked her more for that. She took me there, and I remember sitting in the waiting room, and there was a sign saying, if you're a policeman, I can help you with this, or if you've lost your dog or your keys. I was like, this is mad and bullshit. I wasn't hopeful. And I walked in there, and I've got very good memory of it. I walked in there, he had his desk, he was wearing a suit, like just a casual, like GP type suit. And he asked me a couple of questions. I said, it's my foot, it's hurting. And so he said, lie on the desk. So on his desk, I was like, oh, there's not even a bed. So I lay on the desk, and he put his, and he put his hands not on me, over me. And he didn't say anything, so I didn't know what to expect. And the heat coming out of his hands was crazy. Like, I had to go to see if he was holding a machine, like a heating machine. There was nothing. And then he went down my legs and stuff. My legs started to flick and twitch, and I was twitching, bizarre. There was no, like, you might twitch, so don't worry about it. It was just all spontaneous. And then he said, okay, that's good. Maybe he did it for 10 minutes. And then I sat down. He said, that'll be good now. And he said, also, you're consuming, now I know why he said it, because I just realized. He said, you're consuming something and it's weakening your liver. Or he said, it's hurting your liver. Now, I know what it was. I didn't tell him, but I was smoking hashish every night when I was trained. Like, that was my thing to get me out of my head, was I was smoking hash. And it's hard on the liver. And now I realize that the liver meridian actually goes down, and it goes between the big toe and little toe. And along the top is where I have my pain. So there you go. So maybe he didn't know about meridians, but if you're good and you get results, it must be based on the foundational, it must be why. It's not, you don't guess, or sometimes you guess and you get it right, but it should be based on principles. And I came away from that, and I went to try running. I didn't think I'd be able to. Gone. Never came back. Never came back. So I went from really injured, really painful foot, I couldn't really walk without pain, to it was completely gone. And I ran an hour and a half that night, and I was like it threw me, like, how is that possible? Does that mean, what happened? Did he take away the injury? Was there an injury, or was it this liver thing, or was it just the energy? And so thinking back now, that's when I first realized that I don't understand it. He seems to understand it, but he got results with me, and no doctor could have got that. And so that started me off for my journey to, like, what works. And that's always been my North Star. Does it work? And that means I chuck out a load of stuff that maybe works for someone else, but normally if something works, it'll work for me. That's my, that's kind of where I see things. And so, that is going to be one of my foundational things that I'm going to write about in my book, and I'm going to bang on about it. If I was to go back and speak to myself when I was, young guy, 20, I would say to myself, when all these scientists tell you that's bullshit, or people tell you bullshit, It's just because they have no understanding of how everything is working. But it took me 25 years of bashing my head up against like narrow-minded, ignorant people to realize actually I need to trust myself. So that's a little story of how I came to be so fixated on getting results. Thanks for listening, and if you like that, please subscribe and like the video. Thanks so much.